Good morning, world. Welcome to another episode of Xendependently Minded. If you are a new or returning listener, I truly hope you enjoy this episode. Before we get into the episode, here's a brief disclaimer. Enjoy. The views and opinions expressed by past, present, and future guests of Xendependently Minded have not been expressed by me, and they may not even be shared by me. The views and opinions that I express are, of course, satirical. If you're confused, then try this thought experiment to help you understand. If you like what I said, or say, and you agree, then you can tell yourself that it is my real opinion, and it's not satirical. If you don't agree with what I say, and you're disgusted and repulsed by it, then obviously I'm just being satirical. Obviously, these aren't my real opinions, because this is clearly a character, and nobody would actually have these opinions, would they? Anyway, enjoy the episode. How's it going, guys and girls? It's your boy, Secretary of Homeland Security, Antonio or Alejandro Orca Whale Man, whatever his name is, Mayorkas, back at it with another episode of Here's Why the Most Powerful Nation, the richest nation in the entire world, maybe in human history, doesn't have enough money to send to its own citizens during a natural disaster, but it has enough money to send to nearly every other country in the entire world, it seems. The main theme of this episode, if you guys haven't picked up on it already, you'll pick it up by the end, I'm sure. Because if you listen to this podcast, you're smart. The government doesn't care about its people. In fact, it takes it further than that. It hates and despises us. And when I say us, I mean Filipinos. Just kidding. When I say us, I mean they despise working class people who love their families and want to provide for their families. And I'll get into it a little bit more, but that's going to be the main theme of this episode if you guys couldn't tell. I'm a little fed up, first of all, because if you're noticing right now, there's no video, unfortunately, because the app that I use is made by a bunch of idiots. Every single time I load this app up, every week, I have to recreate myself as an avatar, as an animated avatar, and they try to say, well, it's your driver. Your driver on your computer doesn't work. No, nothing's wrong with my computer. My computer's a tank. I have not even exaggerating. I have had zero issues with this computer since I've gotten it. It's a couple years old. I think it's 3 years now. Coming up on 3 years old almost. 2.5 years old. Never had an issue with it. It's built like a tank. Absolutely love it. No complaints about it. And if it was my drivers in my computer and my graphics card, why does it work and then it doesn't work? Why does it work and then it stops working? So this app is made by a bunch of idiots. They don't deserve my money, even though it's only like $12 a year that I send to these people for this app, because I'm too lazy and I'm unable to, and I'm too stupid to figure out how to animate myself. That's why we don't have video. I was going to have video just showing like my desktop to show the articles that I have, but I really only just have one article to share, because the rest is stuff that you can Google yourself, or it's stuff that you probably have already heard before. You've seen figures on. You don't need to see it again. So my apologies for talking about video podcasts forever, having one and then having issues, but get mad at the company that I'm using, Animaze. Animaze, you suck. I'm coming after you. Not really, that's a joke. But I have to stop taking breaks, because every single time I take a week or two off from this podcasting stuff, World War III gets closer and closer. The nuclear clock winds down to 30 seconds from midnight every single time I take a break. So I guess I got to stop taking breaks. That's the main thing that I learned. It's completely my fault. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're staying hydrated or warm or cool, depending on where you are. Because I know in some places in the United States and across the world, it's super hot. Where I'm at right now, we have some fall is really in season. It's the leaves are turning orange. It's getting rainy. It's getting cloudy. It's beautiful weather. I appreciate all weather. I appreciate all seasons. I love living in a place that has all seasons. I love the sun when it comes out in the summer. I love that summer breeze. I love that feeling of getting vitamin D, sunny D. I almost said. What a disgusting brand-driven American bug I am. I love the feeling of getting vitamin D. I love the spring. I love when the flowers are blooming and it's sunny outside, but it's not too hot. I love the fall when the sun is still out things are changing the colors. It's getting a little chilly. Got to start wearing hoodies and stuff like that. And I stopped putting ice in my coffee. Well, I put ice in my coffee this morning because I felt like it. And I like the winter. I love seeing the snow. It's beautiful, especially in Europe when you see this beautiful architecture. Especially Germany, you see these half timber houses covered in snow, and you got forests and mountains covered in snow. It's beautiful. So I love and appreciate all seasons. What I don't love and appreciate is the United States government. One of the first things I'm gonna give them a piece of my mind in a second, but one of the first things I wanted to talk about was a story from a couple weeks ago. But Israel ended up scheming to that involved pagers and blowing up some terrorists. This operation, people called it Operation Beeper. Basically, Israel came up with an elaborate scheme. It took a couple years. It was a couple years in the making, but the then leader of Hezbollah, Nasrallah, rest in piss, bozo. That guy's dead. That guy's not the leader of anything except for fertilizer for the sand hellhole that he was killed in. Nasrallah was paranoid, rightfully so, saying, hey, we can't use phones. We can't use phones. They're being tapped. They're being wired. They're not secure. Let's move to pagers. Israel got their intel, let them know, hey, they're trying to move to pagers. So what they did was they set up a shell company that operated out of Budapest, Hungary, that created pagers. Apparently, it created real pagers that had real clients that didn't explode. But they also had that company create the pagers, and they were rigging them with a little bit of C4. So there are videos you can watch all over the internet. They're just members of Hezbollah, apparently, that are just in the store. They're walking around. They're at one of those places where you can buy different types of rocks and stones if you're creating a house or a driveway or a pond or whatever. They're picking out the rocks that they want to use to throw at their wives for making eye contact with them without permission. They're picking out rocks to chuck at women for driving or for wanting to go to school. And all of a sudden, their pocket blows up and their wieners get blown off. And it was pretty funny. What's unfortunate is that civilians died. Civilians always die in things like this. And I hate that that's a normal thing that people just kind of cast off. They're like, well, it's war. Children and innocent people getting killed. That's war, baby. No, it's not something to celebrate. I know a lot of people were saying F around and find out. That's the truth. I spare no sympathy at all. Not even a tiny bit. Zero hesitation for Hezbollah, Houthis, Hamas, Taliban, Al-Qaeda, whoever you are, whatever terrorist group you claim to be a part of, which is sad because you don't even get money. You don't even generate money for yourselves. You guys are just a bunch of unemployed retard losers. You have to get money from daddy in Iran, and that's probably going to stop soon, seeing the direction things are going. But it was pretty funny to see these videos of these terrorists getting their legs blown off in the middle of a supermarket. Unfortunately, like I said, innocent people died. I share the belief that one innocent death is too much, but we don't live in a world where everybody's peaceful, especially the Middle East. The Middle East is one of the most violent places in the world today, has been for thousands of years, and that's not going to change. I've come to accept that. It's not going to change. So if you live in a Western country, be grateful. Stop complaining. You can complain, actually, no. I take that back. You can complain. Complain all you want. Be like the French. Spray manure on politicians' houses. Protest peacefully. Complain. Vote. Send, not threatening, but harassing letters to Parliament. It works. It worked for the Austrians during the middle of the pandemic. There was tens of thousands of letters each day sent by the same people to Parliament, letting them know your COVID restrictions are pissing us off. They're restrictive on our freedoms. Even us Europeans, even us Austrians, we're getting sick and tired of this bullshit. So it works if you do it the right way. Continue to complain, continue to push back against your government if they don't fulfill their promises, which it feels like there is no government that fulfills a promise because that's the point of government. Anyway, Netanyahu said that he would consider a ceasefire with Lebanon after Hezbollah had attacked them. They attacked back. They killed Hezbollah leaders earlier this year, and they were attacked, and they said, we're going to respond. So Netanyahu said, I'll consider a ceasefire with Lebanon. So you guys go ahead, get together, all of you together in one place that we're aware of. We're aware of the location, and you guys talk about it. And while they were meeting, Israel decided they were going to bomb that meeting, and multiple leaders of Hezbollah were killed, including the then leader Nasrallah, who I was talking about earlier. So that was pretty funny. There was a place, the place they were meeting at, I believe, was a bunker. So if you see a video, you can watch a video of the aftermath of that place as it was bombed. It looks like Transformers. When the Transformers start landing in Earth, there's like a crater, has to be like 20 or 30 feet deep. Yeah, those guys did not survive. There was no chance for them for surviving. And you're not going to hear any sympathy from me, that's for sure. After this happened, Iran started launching missiles at Israel. They launched over 100 missiles, and I believe nobody died officially from these missiles. There was some infrastructure that was damaged, but there was no critical military infrastructure that was damaged, according to Israel. Sadly, while this happened, the Israelis were like sheltered in place in their homes or whatever, and there was a mass shooting. I haven't seen any details as to who it was that perpetrated this mass shooting, but I saw videos, I saw pictures. They didn't look Jewish. So if you put two and two together, what other populations live in the area of the Middle East, you can kind of put it together. And I believe I was reading that Israeli intelligence had stopped tons of operations of Hezbollah and Hamas trying to set up camp and preparing to do another October 7th. Luckily, they were able to stop them. There's a lot of controversy and some conspiracy theories, I guess I would say, about the original October 7th. If you can even call it that. There's multiple versions of October 7th perpetrated against the Israeli population, and it has been like that for nearly 2,000 years, and probably before that as well. But all-out war in the Middle East is coming because nobody knows when to stop. And as I've said before, don't rely on hotheads. And I say hotheads not as an insult. Don't rely on the leadership of people who have lost loved ones as casualties in war. Do not ask them and expect them to all of a sudden become a cooler head and start thinking rationally. Don't expect them to. Rely on the actual cooler heads. Rely on the people, rely on allies to push for peace, to push for ceasefires, if you want to say that. I'm so sick of that word because of how much it's overused. Truly, though, push for peace. Cooler heads should prevail and put their foot down. Yes, it sounds stupid, sounds cliche. I'm not a military leader. I'm not a foreign policy expert. I don't care that I'm not a military foreign policy expert. I don't have to be. War sucks. Peace by almost any means necessary. And no, peace by violence is not a thing. Peace by violence doesn't work. It just creates a new generation of terrorists to continue to want to kill you and behead your family members, which I don't condone. I don't condone that. There's lots of money to be made here. There's a reason why military leaders from the United States and from a bunch of different countries are being flown out to Israel, probably to bid contracts and be like, hey, can we build the infrastructure for your city? Can we send you more missiles? Can we make more money from the people that you're going to lose, the innocent people that are going to get killed, and the innocent people you're going to kill? Can we make money off them? Don't get it twisted. That's the reason why this is happening. Also, anybody who says Israel being dissolved would mean that there would be peace in the Middle East is an actual brain-dead insect idiot. Because if you just started paying attention after October 7th and all you look at is the Israeli response to the Hamas attacks on October 7th, then yeah, you might think, well, Israel's the only place that's attacking people in the Middle East. Pay attention. Please look at the Middle East. There are hundreds of brewing conflicts across the Middle East, and none of them, except for the ones that Israel are involved in, actually have anything to do with Jews. It's all different branches of Islam, or just Arabs and non-Muslim Arab countries and Arab populations that are getting genocided or getting killed because they're not Sunni or Shiite or whatever. You're an idiot if you think Israel is the root cause of the violence in the Middle East, because the violence has been in the Middle East since before the Jews were there. I mean, since after the Jews were there, after they were kicked out the first time in the 400s or the 300s or whenever it was originally. You're an idiot if you think that Israel is the root cause of this. Israel definitely doesn't help. Israel is attacking multiple countries at the same time right now. They're invading Lebanon. I'm going to get to that in a second. But don't be an idiot. Don't be a retard who thinks Arabs are always peaceful with each other or Muslims are always peaceful with each other. If you think that, you're a full-blown idiot. Palestinians have been screwed by their Arab neighbors for centuries. You can look it up. Palestinians are not just getting their butts kicked by the Israelis. They're getting their butts kicked by every single person that's around them. It's happened. They've been at war with different Arab neighbors. Right now, Egypt refuses to take Palestinian refugees, Gazan refugees. Every country that's surrounding Palestine refuses to help. Hezbollah might pretend that they're attacking Israel. The Houthis might pretend like they're attacking Israel and United States cargo ships for the Palestinians, but that's not true. The Saudi Arabian leader straight up said, I don't care about the Palestinian issue. It's not a problem for me. I care about my own citizens. My citizens are the ones that matter. The problems that plague Saudi Arabia are what I'm focused on. I don't care about the Palestinian issue. That's the truth. That's how it's always been. Like I said, Sunnis kill Shiites. It's just how it is. It's a violent area. It's a violent part of the world. Unfortunately, I don't see the end in sight. I don't think there is an end. It's like asking, okay, will there ever be true peace on earth? No, there won't. There's not going to be peace on earth ever. People always like to say, well, maybe we'll evolve. Maybe when we have Joe Rogan always says, well, maybe when we have what's that thing that you get drilled into your brain? You get like a flash drive, USB 3.0 flash drive plugged into your head, and now you can read minds and whatever, and you can learn Kung Fu in 3 seconds like the Matrix. That's still not going to create peace. If anything, that'll just help people who want to cause chaos and violence and kill opposition faster. So we're going to be having like 10-second wars in the future. Anyway, America is involved in pending wars on 3 different fronts. I've talked about this before. We have Eastern Europe with Ukraine and Russia. We have Asia with Taiwan and China. And we have Israel versus everybody, apparently. Hamas in Palestine. Hezbollah from Lebanon. Houthis from wherever the fuck they come from. And it's unfortunate. It's really disgusting because, meanwhile, Americans, we spend more on healthcare than any country in the entire world. And at the same time, we're the fattest, unhealthiest, and some of our citizens are extremely broke. Most of our citizens are extremely broke. The overwhelming majority of Americans cannot afford a $300 emergency. A $300 emergency could be anything. It could be new brakes on your car. It could be you got rear-ended and you need body work done. It could be you need to go to the dentist and you don't have direct billing. You have to pay up front. $300 emergency could be your kid fell off the swings at school and broke his or her arm, and you can't afford it. That is heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. How does that make sense? That we have sent, you could say one or the other, $250 million, if not more than that. That's the reported numbers since October 7th of last year. So today's October 6th, it'll be almost exactly a year. It'll be a year tomorrow. We've sent them $250 million. Meanwhile, like I said, Israel is also invading Lebanon and striking across the country. Lots of innocent people are dying. Again, this is supposed to be a response. This is the problem with the Middle East, with terrorist organizations that parasitize the populations, the innocent populations in all these countries, they hide amongst them. So it makes it extremely hard to deal with them. And it increases the casualties that would otherwise be a lot less if it was an entire country that attacked Israel. In Iran's case, it was Iran that attacked them, which is funny because they'll sit here and they'll act like, we're just sitting here. We're Iran. We're just trying to exist, right? Meanwhile, they're funding all of these terrorist organizations that attack Israel and try to kill them and want to destroy the state of Israel and kill all Jews and rape all Jews and behead all Jews and use baby Jews as target practice. But when Israel kills leaders of these proxies, all of a sudden Iran's like, all right, we're stepping in. So that's their way of kind of try to passively attack Israel, and now they're getting involved explicitly. Netanyahu said, we're going to respond to Iran because any country in the world right now would do the same. And that's true. Any country in the world that got attacked the way that Israel just was by Iran, they would want to strike back. We started an entire war off this premise, or that's the claimed reason why we started the Afghanistan war. Although most of the 9/11 hijackers were not from Afghanistan, they're from Saudi Arabia. We weren't going to go to war with Saudi Arabia for whatever reason, I don't know. Maybe oil, not sure. But the CENTCOM general, CENTCOM, if you don't know what that is, there are different military units, like overarching units, and CENTCOM is it's Central Command, I believe is what it stands for. Pretty sure this is the command that focuses on U.S. involvement in the Middle East. So he is in Israel right now discussing the retaliation plan against Iran. And at the same time, America is bombing Yemen because we simply refuse to de-escalate conflict. Why would we de-escalate conflict, especially in the Middle East? There's a lot of money to be made here. Ask Dick Cheney and KBR Halliburton. Lovely. Lovely times we're in. Next thing I wanted to talk about, the vice presidential debates. So, I've said it many times before. I hate the debates. I hate the debate format. I hate it even more somehow after watching these. There's a lot of discourse, a lot of super biased, trash discourse. I dislike unwarranted, I don't want to say unwarranted, I despise brainwashed bias in every form. I despise it when the left does it. I despise it when the right does it. And in this case, the right was just jacking off to the vice presidential debates. There's so much discourse about, oh man, I love when the debates are civil. I love when they're civil like this. I wish these two gentlemen were running for the president instead of vice president. Oh my God, JD Vance, he absolutely murdered Tim Walz. Tim Walz is a crazy man. Look at this one freeze frame of his crazy eyes. He sucks balls. JD Vance destroyed Tim Walz. He just won the election because of the vice presidential debates. Nobody cares about the vice presidential debates. Nobody cares about the vice presidents. The vice president is there to do photo ops and maybe get elected as president when their president is done, when the term is over. Nobody cares about the vice president. I definitely don't. Yes, JD Vance had a good performance, quote unquote. Who gives a crap about performance? I'm so sick of hearing this discourse. He had a great performance. What is this, the NFL Combine? Who cares about the performance? Yeah, he spoke well. Yeah, he barely stuttered. Yeah, he had quips to say. Yeah. My favorite moment with him was him calling out the ABC Democratic shill moderators for fact-checking when they said they wouldn't fact-check. Only fact-checking him. Fake fact-checks as well. Here's the thing with these fact-checks. Here's what they do. They take a claim that someone has made. They twist it. And then they take the twisted claim and they debunk it and say, look, see, it's false. See, look, it's mostly false. That's because you screwed with the premise. You screwed with the claim. And now you're debunking your own false claim. That's what they all do. That's what Snopes does. I just saw Al Jazeera do the same thing with J.D. Vance's claim that in Springfield, Ohio, there are schools and districts across the city that are overwhelmed, that are overpopulated, and underpaid, under-budgeted, and they can't handle the mass influx of migrants that have been sent there. And Al Jazeera came out and said, this is mostly false. Really? Really? So if you go talk to a teacher in Springfield, Ohio, they're going to say, no, I can handle 35 kids in my classroom, including 7 kids that don't speak English. No, we don't have a housing crisis right now. There aren't Springfield, Ohio residents that have lived there their entire lives for generations that can't afford houses. Meanwhile, migrants are getting $2,000, $3,000 a month just to come here to take ducks off out of a park and eat them, which I don't have a huge problem with. Just don't feed the uncooked duck or whatever weird crap that you guys do to the citizens or to the kids. So you're going to sit here and take this claim, you're going to twist it and try to make it into a race thing, and then you're going to tell the world that the citizens, the concerned citizens, the disenfranchised citizens of Springfield, Ohio are just lying. They're just complaining, they're lazy, and there hasn't been an influx. Even though it is factual, it's on record that there are thousands of migrants that were sent to Springfield, Ohio. So you're going to sit here and say that a small town like Springfield, Ohio is not going to get negatively impacted by an influx of people coming that don't work, they don't pay taxes, they get free money, they get free housing, they don't have to follow laws, they don't even have to learn or speak English? You're going to sit here and you're going to fact check the potential vice president on this. But you're not going to fact check all the other garbage that Tim Walz spewed. And yeah, Tim Walz did not do as bad as everyone said. He started off a little shaky, said every 5 seconds, but there were some good points that he made. Cool, congratulations, you performed well, you ran a fast 40-yard dash. I don't care about your stupid discourse. I don't care about your stupid civil debate. Yeah, nothing's better than seeing 2 rich, corrupt politicians talk about how much they love a foreign country, how much they don't have plans to help American citizens, casting aside how unhealthy and broke and unsafe Americans are. But they did it in a civil manner. Oh boy. Oh boy. A couple guys shook hands and they kissed each other's butts on certain things and said, oh, I agree with him on this. Oh, I agree with him on this. Oh, thanks for giving me your condolences on the fact that my kid had to suffer through a school shooting. Yeah, let's not address the issue. Let's tiptoe around the issue. Both have non-answers. One of the things that really upset me, that really annoyed me, was when they talked about childcare. So they're sitting here having a non-debate, a non-argument over companies that might give a couple months of maternity leave to mothers. And Tim Walz is like, oh yeah, the big companies, here out of Minnesota, we had a lot of big companies and they give 3 months of maternity leave. Oh wow, 3 months. You can now spend time with your kids for 3 months, and after that, stick them in a daycare where they're going to get sick, where they have a chance of getting abused, where they're not going to even know their own parents. Wow, cool. You were there for 3 months. Congratulations. Thanks, Amazon. You guys are awesome. Thanks for the 3 months maternity leave. And then J.D. Vance is giving non-answers rather than addressing the root cause. Why is childcare so important in America? Why can't families afford childcare? Why can't families afford to spend time with their kids? Why do both the mother and father have to work multiple jobs just to barely support themselves and then they have a kid? Why are parents not spending time with their kids at all? Why are kids addicted to social media? Why are kids addicted to technology? Why can't they look people in the eyes? Why can't they talk? Why can't they have normal human-to-human conversations? Why are the kids so messed up? Why are the kids so mentally ill? Why are the kids so addicted to drugs? Why are the kids so desensitized to violence? No, let's talk about maternity leave. A tiny sliver of an issue. You went to the top of the tree that's about to touch the power line and take out the entire neighborhood, and you cut off half an inch off the top from a branch. You took one leaf and you pulled it off. Wow. But you didn't even really, because you just talked about how big companies know that they should give a couple seconds of maternity leave rather than addressing the root cause of the issue. The very first question of the debate, was it on A, the health crisis in America, or was it B, the rise in opioid deaths? Or maybe it was C, the unsustainable rise in housing cost and the cost of everything else? No, It was on a foreign nation. It was on Israel. The moderators came and said, "Thank you for coming to these debates. Who loves Israel more?" Seriously. The vice presidential debates for the potential vice presidents of the United States of America, the first question is not even about America. And I've said it many times before. I'm not one of these pro-Hamas shills. I'm not one of these pro-terrorist organization shills doing light work for terrorist organization like these dumb idiot college students that are putting their potential scholarly careers at an Ivy League schools at risk to run surveillance, to do work for Hamas. I'm not one of those people. If I was Israel, I would want to kill every single Hezbollah, Hamas, and Houthi, and whoever terrorist that attacks my country. If I was attacked right now, I would want to go scorched earth and kill every single person that perpetrated this attack on me and my family and my neighbors and my country. Doesn't mean that we have to be involved. It doesn't mean that we have to be bombing Yemen at the same time. It doesn't mean that we have to... Here's the thing. America is the most powerful nation in the entire world right now. It might not be in a few years, but it is right now. We can still help our allies while helping the people at home. And when I say help, I don't mean sending weapons and sending blank checks to countries. I'm talking about actually pushing for peace, actually pushing for treaties, actually ending violence, and actually de-escalating from a three-front nuclear war with 3 different parts of the world. That's what I mean by help. We can help Israel by finding diplomatic solutions, permanent solutions, if possible, like the Abraham Accords, to de-escalate. It helps everybody. It keeps the countries in the Middle East that hate us from hating us more, and having the United States map as a bullseye for darts and for shooting practice at their shooting ranges. It helps our allies in not exhausting resources, not losing innocent life. Gives them more time to innovate and grow their country and actually help their citizens. You can't, it's just like a boxing or MMA fight. You can only be on the back foot. You can only be getting pushed back and fighting backwards so long until you get worn out and until you get head kicked. Israel can only be on the defensive for so much. It's going to stop innovation in their country. It's going to halt innovation. It's going to hurt progress, just like it's doing in America. America has crumbling cities. It has a crumbling interstate and intrastate highway system across every state. Every single person that I know, and from my experience in going back to America, is disgusted at the shape of America. And I want it to be better. And it can be better. The government can help both people at the same time. We just don't need to escalate every single situation into a potential war, especially a potential war involving nuclear weapons. And that's the funny thing. It's another thing I wanted to talk about with the vice presidential debates. I love the part when, I love how there's this narrative that, oh, you know, Obama with the Obama basically lifting these restrictions on Iran, these financial restrictions, lifting these embargoes on Iran, as long as they promise to not create a nuclear program. This actually helped when it didn't. Trump claims that he was tougher on Iran, and then he also claims that when Biden got into office, he went back to the Obama era and said, okay, we'll be softer on you as long as you promise to not create a nuclear program. As long as you don't create nuclear weapons, we're going to lift the embargoes on you so your economy can do better. What ends up happening? The ABC shill Democratic moderators end up stating Iran is closer to a nuclear weapon than they've ever been. So how can Tim Walz or Kamala Harris or Joe Biden or Barack Obama or any of these people say, oh, it was a success? I talked about it in the past. Yeah, you can do that. You can say, as a gesture of goodwill, we're going to lift these restrictions that have crippled your economy as long as you promise not to make nuclear weapons. Then we piss off Iran one way or another, either just by supporting Israel, either by bombing one of their proxies, or bombing a little too close to them, doing something they don't like. Now their economy is stronger because the embargoes, the what do you call them? The things that we were doing to Russia for forever and still doing it. Whatever restrictions we've put on them, now that those have been lifted, their economy is growing stronger. Now they're pissed off. So now they're going to continue to work on their nuclear program, but now they have the resources to do so. That's what's happened. That's what's happened here. Rather than keeping them crippled and empowering the countries surrounding them. That's what Trump was attempting to do with the Abraham Accords, or at least that's what I understand. But here's where we're at. We're teetering on the brink of World War III. This time on 3 fronts. 2 fronts wasn't enough in World War II with Japan and Europe. We're also going to add in the Middle East. We might as well throw in Africa. Maybe we'll find some blood diamonds in Africa, and we'll start kicking up dust in Africa as well. Why not? Why not? Maybe the chapter for the World War is supposed to stand for how many fronts we're going to fight on. So maybe World War IV will also include Africa. It's despicable. And if you're not aware, the United States is sending troops, and it is sending aircraft, and it is sending ships to prepare for the Israeli response to Iran. So there are American men and women being sent to the Middle East to die as we speak, to put themselves at risk at the very least as we speak, for wars that we have nothing to do with. Last thing I wanted to talk about, I read this article last night, this news hit yesterday. So FEMA claimed that they are out of money for the hurricane victims. Meanwhile, we're sending billions to Israel and Ukraine, millions to Egypt and other countries. And at the same time, Americans are suffering from this hurricane, from Hurricane Helene or whatever, however you pronounce it. They get a mere $750. That's what they got. But the news just broke yesterday that the Biden administration, the Biden-Harris administration, because you got to give Kamala Harris, you got to give her credit for this garbage. They're sending a mere $20 million immediately. Funds will be available immediately to the victims of Hurricane Helene. So, over 200 people are dead. Over 300 more are confirmed missing, probably dead. Over 3 million people are without power. So that leaves each person about $6. Thanks, Biden. We appreciate it. I'm sure the people of the Carolinas, I'm sure the victims of this hurricane really appreciate the $6 gesture that they're getting. Add on top of that $750. Man, $756. Wow. Thanks so much. Thanks, Biden. You guys are awesome. Forget the fact that in less than 3 years, the United States has sent the equivalent of $113 or so billion to Ukraine. Okay? Ukraine has a population of a few million. Each person gets thousands of dollars if you do the math there. But the American citizens of the South get $3, $6 per person, plus $750. Awesome. Forget the fact that since October 7th, America has sent $250 million in aid to Israel. And Biden is hoping to cough up billions for Israel in the next few years. It doesn't get more blatant than this. What I spoke about earlier, I'm going to expound upon. Members of D.C., United States politicians, hate their citizens. It's not that they just don't care. They hate American citizens. They look at regular working class people, like the people that are suffering, as vermin. They look at them as roadblocks. They look at them as speed bumps, obstacles for them to get to their ultimate goal of true power, unlimited money. They hate us. They hate families who stick together. They constantly attack the nuclear family in media of all shapes and sizes. They hate hardworking men, patriarchs. They hate mothers that take care of their kids, that raise their kids. They want the moms to go to work. That way, Neither of the parents are raising the kids. The media is raising the kids. And what does the media teach you? The media teaches you that it's good to be a whore. It's good to have extramarital affairs, premarital affairs. It's okay to value materialism over your children. It's okay to be poor. It's okay to not have food. It's okay to not be able to afford anything to take care of your kids. It's okay to not be present in your children's lives. It's okay to not have a religion or a faith or any type of spirituality. You shouldn't have it. It's weird. It's cringe. You should worship the bad guy. There's satanic imagery across all forms of media. There's deconstructions and the destruction of every single male idol and hero that I grew up watching. Nearly every single hero that I had growing up has been destroyed. And yes, a lot of people might look at it and just be like, oh, it's just a movie. Oh, Luke Skywalker, it's just a movie. Why do you think Star Wars, why do you think Indiana Jones, why do you think superheroes resonate with kids so much, especially young boys? Because they want to aspire to be great. They want to aspire to be someone that fights the bad guys, sticks up for the good guys, and saves people and helps people. Luke Skywalker, in the face of on the brink of the collapse of the rebellion, his friends are going to die. His arm was cut off by his own dad. He goes alone because he still believes that he has a chance to save his friends and his people, and he still believes that there's good in his father. And then they destroy him in the movies. And there's a reason why there's such an emotional response to things like this, to the destruction of characters like Luke Skywalker, to the destruction of characters like Indiana Jones, to the destruction of beloved, timeless literature like J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. There's a reason why people have emotional responses to this, because they looked up to these people. It gave them inspiration, gave them motivation, gave them something to aspire to. The media hates people like that. They hate strong men. They hate strong women. They hate strong mothers. They hate strong fathers. Just look at the sequel to The Joker, okay? I don't know if you guys remember, but I definitely do. Leading up to the release of 2019's Joker, Joaquin Phoenix's portrayal of Joker, which was a small budget movie, a low budget movie by modern standards, that made over $1 billion. It was rated R. It was fantastic, and it resonated with a lot of people. People didn't want to aspire to be the Joker. That wasn't the point of the film. The point of the film, the main theme of the film is look at what happens to certain outcasts, to certain people that don't feel like they're heard in a society like the United States, current society, modern society in the United States. Look what happens if they get pushed to the brink. Look what happens if they constantly get shat on, constantly get beat up, whether physically or literally. Look at what happens when people get pushed to the brink, when they're mentally ill, when they don't have the care, they can't afford the care, they're burdened by another mentally unwell, mentally sick family member. Look what happens to people in society when they're not taken care of at the worst. Like I said, the Joker is not someone to be appreciated. The Joker is not someone to be idolized. He ends up killing people. It was just an extreme case showing this is what can happen to people that are crapped on and ignored in society, okay? What they ended up doing to the Joker in the opening scenes of the second Joker movie is they had him get beat and gang raped by guards in a prison. And immediately after that, he takes that confident Joker persona that's fed up with being treated like garbage and he throws it away and he just cries and he whines the whole movie. And then he ends up getting killed. So, a film that resonated with people because of its themes on society, which is, I know it's cliche to use the word society. They took this character, this confident person who was willing to go to the extremes because he tried to live in a legit way. They took him, they had him get raped, and they had him get stabbed to death by another mentally unwell person. That's where we're at. Back to the main point. Politicians hate us. They hate people who care about the family. They hate us for having faith. They hate us for wanting to have freedom of speech. the right to bear arms, the right to own property. They hate us for this. They hate the Constitution. They're blatantly saying it. They blatantly come out and say it. Tim Walz has talked about how misinformation and hate speech, I think, are not covered by the First Amendment. Hillary Clinton is continuing to advocate for punishment for people who share misinformation. She's constantly advocating for punishment of Elon Musk for allowing there to be a thing as dangerous as free speech, dangerous to politicians, to Empress Palpatines like her. They look at the Constitution as something that they absolutely despise. If they could burn the Constitution, and if they could flush down the toilet every single amendment and every single right we're born with, the United States politicians, most of them, absolutely would. Because they hate us. We're roadblocks. We're obstacles. And you can see that in this response to this hurricane. It's despicable. Don't forget. Use that as motivation. Use that as fuel for your fire, whatever gets you up out of bed. Remember, your politicians are scared of you. Because at the end of the day, if you pay more attention, they won't get reelected. The more people pay attention, the more one-term congressmen and women we'll see, which is a good thing. If you don't do your job, you don't deserve to continue to have a job, especially as cozy a job as being a congressman or woman can be. Hold your politicians accountable. Hold your representatives accountable. Do not let them continue to get away with what's happening. And that's the good thing. The direction we're headed, people are paying attention. People are getting involved. They are waking up to the truth, which is why we're seeing so many politicians and so many corrupt media outlets calling for clamping down on misinformation and disinformation. They label anything that hurts them, anything that exposes their faults, anything that exposes their mistakes or their blatant misuses of power, they label them as misinformation and disinformation because they want that stuff to be hidden so they can continue to do what they've been doing since the inception of this country. You could get away with it in the 20th century. You could get away with it until everything started to be broadcast across radio waves, broadcast on live television, and now the internet. You can't hide anything on the internet. If this was 1930 and the United States, with the help of the Norwegian Navy, decided to blow up the Nord Stream pipeline, we would never know who it was. We would believe that it was Russia that blew up their own pipeline. But because of the internet, because of the power of having so much information at your fingertips, Pulitzer Prize winning journalist Seymour Hersh was able to break the story and share that he has a source, someone that was involved in the operation, that claimed this is what happened. Russia did not blow up their own pipeline. The United States Navy and the Norwegian Navy were involved. So don't forget, politicians are afraid of us and they hate us. Use that as fuel. And if you want to vote, go out and vote. If you don't, you can still be involved any way that you want. At the end of the day, we all want the same thing. We want to be happy, healthy, and we want to take care of our families. That's going to do it for this episode as Independently Minded. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you took something away from it positively or negatively or neutral. And my apologies again for not having any video on this one, but hopefully this company gets their stuff together, and maybe I'll have video. I should have video the next episode. Don't forget to check out our merch shop. Like I said, it's starting to get a little chilly out there in some places, so go get yourself a beanie, get yourself a coffee mug, get yourself a hoodie, long sleeve shirt, or maybe a short sleeve shirt if it's still hot where you're living. The link to the merch shop is going to be in the description, and also the link to the Child Mind Institute, the nonprofit that I donate 100% of the proceeds from my merch sales. That's going to be linked in the description. And at the very top of the description this week and for the next few weeks, as long as this crisis is going on, I'm going to have a link to the main kind of parent GoFundMe page for the victims of Hurricane Helene, because there are a lot of people, if you click on there, if you click on the link and you scroll down, there are a lot of different GoFundMes that are related to this crisis. I encourage everybody to go and donate. Go support as best as you can. And I appreciate it. Appreciate you guys listening. Appreciate your guys' support. And I'll catch you on the next episode. As always, stay safe. Stay away from those crazies out there. Thank you.